we are at this topic here, automatic payment run, which is a very important topic indeed. Automatic payment run is something that is may not be available in other ERP packages, may or may not be. I'm not sure about Oracle Financials, but in SAP we have this automatic payment run, which is a beautiful function to make large outgoing payments. Outgoing payment in the sense you pay the vendor invoices, you pay your purchase invoices in large numbers. In big corporations like Nokia and Motorola and so forth, the number of purchase invoices to be paid is so large, is very voluminous, that you can't be using this function here, the outgoing payment. This is a manual method, right? This is outgoing payment. These are the manual methods of making the payments. You can't be making payments, purchase invoice payments one by one. It will require a lot of time and human resource to do that. So in order to speed up these payments to vendors, SAP has provided an automatic way to make the outgoing payment very fast. What this function will do is that it will allow you to select the vendors that you want to make the payment to, and the documents which you want to make payment, and once the system has this information, it will just automatically run the payment. It will credit the money from the bank and post the payment to the vendor. Let me just explain this using a slide. Okay, this is a slide I have prepared with regards to automatic payment run overview. Now look at this. Look at this blue box here. All these three functions are done by the payment clerk, accountant, or whatever it may be. Basically, this is triggered by the human interaction. The first activity, which is to specify the vendors to be paid, is done first. Then the clerk specifies the documents to be paid, and then he hits the execute automatic payment run function. It's also called automatic payment program function. Then the rest of the processes will be taken over by automatic payment program. First, they will deduct the money from the bank and post the payment to the vendor account, and then clear the offsetting entry is posted to the offsetting posting is posted to the bank prior to that. So this is the credit. Let me just put a note here. This will be the credit posting. And this will be the debit posting. When you make payment to the vendor, the payment will go to the debit side. So that's why this is called debit posting. So your bank account will be credited and your vendor account will be debited. So these two processes will clear the outstanding vendor invoice. Then once this is done for one document, you will go to the next document within the vendor and makes a payment, the second payment, based on the same credit and debit posting. So each of these posting, credit and debit posting, will be done for each of the outstanding invoice for the vendor. Until all the outstanding invoices are paid for the vendor, you will go to the next vendor. So this is an ongoing loop This is an ongoing loop. It will go on until all the vendors selected here is fully paid. Okay. Without this function, what the payment clerk has to do is that they have to use the F-53 T code, F-53 T code to do the payments manually. Okay. So this is the problem with manual payment. It will take a lot of time. We have thousands of invoices to be paid for thousands of vendors. It will take a lot of time. So with this automatic payment run, all the functions are simplified, okay, by the program. Now let us see how to use this function in SAP. I'll show you how to configure this function in SPRO and how to make a payment run using T code F110. Let us go to the configuration first. Alright, it is under financial accounting, new, accounts receivable, accounts payable, business transactions, outgoing payments, automatic outgoing payments, payment method, bank selection for payment program, and this one. This is not a step, okay, so as long as you don't see this clock sign, you don't need to do anything. The steps for IMG configuration starts with this, and then goes to the next level, which is this, and this. We stop here. Even though there are a lot of other steps here, we are not going to use it normally. So the 5 important steps are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll be covering these 5, so you can ignore the rest. Okay. Now let us go here. What is in here? Okay, before that, let me just give you a brief overview on what needs to be configured so that you can follow accordingly. Let me prepare a slide. Alright, these are the configuration steps. These are the important configuration steps involved in the automatic payment program configuration. As you can see, we have 5 major steps. The first one is to specify the paying company code. This is used if you have a cross company code payment requirement. Cross company code payment requirement meaning is that if your company is obliged to pay for the purchases made by other company code within your group, then the company code which is owing to the vendor and the company code which is going to make the payment to the vendor is going to be 2 different company codes, right? Because you're making the payment on behalf of another company code within your group. Alright, so that is what we mean cross company code payment. Let me just explain to you using a simple example. Let's say you have a group company code here, group, and then under the group you have company A and company B, right? So this is a group, right? Under the group you have company A and company B, and let's say the company B has bought something from vendor say vendor Coke. Okay, Coke, the vendor name is Coke. Let's say the company B has bought something from vendor Coke. So now only the company B is owing to the vendor Coke to make the payment for the purchases it made. But if the group's policy is that for whatever purchases made by company B, only company A will make the payment, because in certain companies, in big groups, they want to make a central payment from one company code. They want to make a centralized payment from a single company code for the purchases made by other company codes. This is because they can hire one responsible accountant, because making payment is very sensitive from the company's point of view or group's point of view, because when it authorizes an accountant to make payment from the company's bank account, there are very high chances that the company's accountant might misuse the authority to siphon out the money from the bank account. So if the group has got lots of company codes around the world, it is very difficult to hire responsible or trustable accountants all over the world, so that they can be entrusted to make the payment. So what these groups will do is that they will just designate one single company code which can be strictly monitored, and hire one accountant who is highly reliable to make the payment on behalf of other companies which are going to make the purchases. So in this case, the reliable accountant, let's assume the reliable accountant is working in company A, so only company A is authorized to make payments, authorized to take out money from the company's bank account. So the company A will be making the payment to vendor Coke, and once a payment has been made to vendor Coke, the outstanding invoice which is outstanding with company B's books will be settled, and the vendor Coke's outstanding account with company B will be settled accordingly. So the flow goes something like this. Company B buys from vendor, or the other way around. So vendor Coke sells goods to company B, yeah, and payment is sent from company A, something like this. So this is what we call cross company code payment processing. Okay, let me just put cross company code. Yeah, because this is out of norm. Normally if the company B buys from vendor Coke, the payment will come from company B to vendor Coke. So in this case, the payment will come from company A, who did not buy from the vendor Coke. So in this case, that's where we have to make use of the step number 1, which is specify the paying company code. In this case, for company B we will be specifying company A as a paying company code. Let me just show you the screen how this looks like. This is step 1 right here. Yeah, over here, this is step 1, set up all company codes for payment transactions. If you go in here, you'll see all the company codes listed. You need to create one entry for Sun company code. It is not here yet, so let us look at other company code as an example. I'll show you how to create, but now I need to show you how the screen looks like. So just let me pick up anything. So we have two fields here, one is sending company code and the other one is paying company code, right? Okay, this is the two fields which we need to establish the cross company code situation here. In this case, the sending company, let me close this extra session here, it's disturbing me. Alright, now in this case, the sending company code will be company B and the paying company code will be company A. You get how it can be set up. So the sending company code will be company B and the paying company code will be company A. So in this case, both sending company code and paying company code are the same, because if the company B is authorized to make the payment to vendor Coke, then both the sending company code and the paying company code will be one single company, which is something like this. Company B, just imagine company B here and company B here, if the company B is authorized to make the payments. Alright, so that is step 1. Step 1 is to configure the screen. Alright, although you see many other parameters here, all of these are very rarely used, so I'm not going to confuse you by explaining these fields here, because the whole objective of this training is to teach you only the needed fields. Teach you how to configure only the needed fields or important fields. Alright. The next step is specify minimum maximum payment amount at company code level. I am mentioning as company code level because the automatic payment program configuration should be made in two levels. One at the country code level, which can also be understood as a client code level setting. This is client level setting, as a country level setting, and the other one is a company code level setting. Okay, if we set something at the country level, which is US in our case, it will be applicable for all the company codes which is defined in the US. Alright, so now the next step is specify minimum maximum payment amount. This is the company code level setting. Let me just show you where we have to specify. Go back. This is the second one here. Alright, paying company codes. Just go into anything. Yep, see here, minimum amount. There's no maximum amount, right? Alright, let me just correct that. Sorry about that. So I would have thought that there is a maximum amount to be configured. Sorry about that. So there's no only minimum amount that we need to configure. Specify minimum payment amount, company code level, which is here. You see two fields, one for incoming payment and the other one is outgoing payment. This same automatic payment can also be used for incoming payments. Alright, if you don't want to enter customer payments, which is called incoming payment one by one, you can make use of this to make the payment for incoming payments. But we are not going to look at it because almost 90% of the companies will not be using incoming automatic payments. They will rather post it manually. So only for outgoing payments we will be using this automatic payment. Okay, so you just have to ignore this and concentrate on this. Here you specify the minimum payment for outgoing payment. This is because the reason why you have to specify a minimum payment amount for outgoing payment is because for example, let's say it's not worth making a bank transfer payment for a vendor for which the outstanding amount is only a few cents, let's say a few dollars, because the cost of making the bank transfer and advising the vendor about the payment is higher than the actual amount which is outstanding. For 50 cents or $1, definitely you are not going to make a bank transfer because the bank transfer cost itself per transaction will be higher than the $2. So you can set up a minimum payment amount here, right? So if there is any payment which is lesser than this amount, it will not be taken into account for the automatic payment. It will exclude those documents. So for those documents you can simply make a manual payment and inform the vendor about the payment. You can also issue a check if you want to. So this is a threshold where you can specify that any document amount which does not have a balance higher than this minimum amount should not be considered for the automatic payment. It should be excluded from the automatic payment. Alright, that's what we can specify here. This is the company code level because if you see here you are specifying the company code which is going to be Sun in our case. And the third one is set up payment method document type for posting. This is a country level, which means that you're not going to specify only for one single company. You will specify it at the country code level, which is US in our case. Let me just show you what is that we're going to specify the country level. See, it's mentioned as country level here. Go in here, see US, I have positioned in US. If we are doing implementation for other countries, just go to the respective country and let us go to bank transfer. See what are the things we can specify. You see, payment method document type for posting. the two important things we have to specify here is the payment method, the type of payment, and see here for bank transfer I'll create this code, this alphabet here is freely definable. You can define on your own whether it's A, B or C, it doesn't really matter as long as there's a alphabet here. And then you have to classify whether this is a bank transfer or check or bills of exchange, or check and or bills of exchange. So normally it is between these two. If you are using bills of exchange, you can use this. Alright, you have to define an alphabet and then specify the payment method classification. And the other important thing you need to specify the document type of payment. When you make payments, you have to post the payment document, right? So here you specify what will be the document type of the payment posting, because when you normally make the payment in F-53 here, let me just open it, F-53. Okay, when we make manual payments, this is the document type which will be used, right? KZ, right? You can also change this to something else, but I didn't show you to how to change this because in SAP standard the document type that will be used for payment is KZ, so I just leave it as it is. So similarly in automatic payment you have an option to actually specify the document type to be used for the payment documents, payment posting documents. So what is normally used in standard SAP is ZP, because simply they want to make a differentiation between the manual payment, sorry, where am I going here, between the manual payment which is KZ and the automatic payment. But nothing stops you from using KZ again. You can also use KZ, but the problem that you will run into is that you will not know, you cannot differentiate between the payments made by automatic payment program and the manual payments. So that's why it's advisable to use a different document type. At least you can identify that any payment document that is found with document type ZP is actually posted by the automatic payment. Okay, but I'll leave that to you. But in this example I'll be using ZP. That's a standard way of what do you call that, posting payments using the automatic payment run. So clearing document type, just ignore it. This is used for cross company code payments, so I don't want to elaborate on that because only very few companies are using cross company code payment. You know what is a cross company code payment, right? This is the one. Alright, and let me just go here. So these are the two things which you need to specify the country level. Yeah, whatever that is specified the country level is actually is not by company code. As you can see here, I cannot specify the company code here, so I can only specify the country code level. So how the system will know which company code belongs to which country? There is a setting here. Let me just show you. I think some of you all, if you can clearly remember the previous topics, I've already shown you that, but those who have forgotten that, no problem, let me show it again. For each company code, this is where we define the company code, right? For each company code we also have to specify in which country the company is incorporated. That is here, using this field here. See, for company code Sun, I specified the country code US because in our example Sun company code is incorporated in New York, US. Alright, so the currency used, local currency used is USD. Now in that case the Sun company code will be using this document type and this payment method to make the payments for using bank transfer. Alright, So that's about step 3. Step 4, minimum maximum payment amount at the company code level. Alright, what is the step 4 for? Let me close this session. Let me also close this. Cancel. No. Okay, this is the one. 4th step, set up payment methods per company code for payment transactions. You have set up the payment methods at country level, right? So there are certain settings that you need to specify the company code level for the payment methods. All the payment methods which have been set up, okay, here country key, just hang on. Okay, now we specify minimum maximum payment amount at the company code level. Into step 4, let's go here, and then for Sun company code there's already a few payment methods specified. I just see one of it. See, this is where we specify the minimum maximum payment method, minimum maximum payment amount. So each payment method here to specify what is the minimum amount that you're going to pay and the maximum amount that you can pay. So if the document, the vendor invoice does not fall in this range, 500 to 250,000, then if you use this payment method during payment, it will not be taken into account. The document will be rejected. Okay, there's something I need to tell you here. In this step here, there's one more thing that I need to specify. I didn't tell you earlier because it might confuse you. Now this is a time to inform you about that. I need to add one more step here. Specify the payment method. So that specify the payment method so that the system will know which is the payment method to choose. As you know earlier, each payment method has got some configuration in it. Let me just show you. We were looking at the bank transfer, right? So by looking at this payment method, the system will know that this is specified during the activation of a payment program or triggering of the payment program. You need to specify the payment method that will be used by the payment program. So from the payment method, it will show which document type to use and what is the nature of the payment, whether it's a bank transfer or check. If it is check, the system will print the checks. If it's bank transfer, the system will just create an electronic file which will contain the bank transfer information, so that you can send the electronic file to your bank to make the actual payments. So for each payment method that is defined at the country level, you can specify a minimum and maximum payment amount at the company code level. So all you have to do is just add an entry here for T bank payment method, which is what you call the bank transfer, and specify the minimum and maximum payment amount. Okay, the next one is specify bank accounts. Is a most important thing. You have to specify the bank accounts for the payment methods so that the system will know which bank to deduct the money from. So in a way, you are setting up the link between the bank account and the payment method using this step here, this one here. This is the 5th one. Okay, let's go in here. For each payment method, Sun is not set up here yet. Let me just select something else, say this one, IDAS UK. You have to come here and specify the bank account. You see the payment method here, this is the payment method. For this payment method, this is the house bank, this is the bank account that will be linked with the payment method. So when the automatic payment run uses this payment method to make the payment, the money will be deducted from this bank account. I will explain to you how to set up this bank account briefly later, but just allow me to split this topic into 3 different topics so that it will be easier for you to understand. I think one topic is very huge: automatic payment run introduction. And automatic introduction is what we have covered just now. Automatic payment run configuration, and automatic payment run execution. Okay, so we have just finished introduction. Let me just show you one last thing, how the house bank account is created and linked here. I'm not going to show you in detail because that is cover house bank creation in detail here, bank master data creation, but I need to at least show you where it is defined so that it will be easier for you to understand the concept of automatic payment run. House bank is created here. Let me just open another session. House bank is created here. Bank accounts, define house banks, enter company code Sun. I've already created one for this payment program topic because otherwise we cannot run this payment program. This is the key, freely definable key, which is of 4 digits that we need to specify, and then specify the bank country where the bank is incorporated. Citibank is incorporated in country, or not to say incorporated, in which Citibank branch you have this account. You're maintaining a bank account. So I'm maintaining in Citibank US, that's why I'm specifying bank country US. If you are maintaining a bank account in UK, just specify here bank country UK. That's not a problem. So bank key is the account number, bank account number, to which in which we are maintaining the bank account. Okay, bank key actually is a SAP defined number in which the details of the bank address and all that will be found. I'll explain this in detail later on when we come to this topic here. Okay, I don't want to confuse your understanding now or make the automatic payment run topic very complex. If I go detail into this, then it will trigger other topics as well. So all I want to tell you is that in order to link the bank account to payment method C, you need to create this number here, right? So let us go to 2000 now. Company code 2000, define house banks 2000. See, this 2400 is here. It's a 2400 is under this company code, right? Paying company code 2000. So if I come here, I can find the 2400. So GB, Great Britain. So all you have to do is that in order to create this house bank, you have to come to this transaction FI12 and create a new entry here. And of course, before this, you have to select the company code and enter the house bank ID and the bank country and so forth, and link the bank account. Let me go back. Yes, cancel. I'll show you how to link the bank account. If you go in here, the 2400 you link to this GL account 113400. So this is how the system will know that this house bank ID is a freely definable code is linked to this GL account. This GL account is the bank's GL account, so that when you link this 2400 to payment method here, and when it makes a payment, the system will know that that the bank amount should be deducted from this bank account here. Alright, so that's the purpose of linking the house bank to the payment method. Otherwise, how the system will know? It will not know. Alright, that's about it. That's the important thing, that we specify bank accounts for payment methods. Then let me end the topic here for introduction. Then we'll see in the next topic how to do the actual configuration for the automatic payment run.